The key issue with overcoming phone addiction comes down to this one simple thing. In this video, I'm going to share the one very simple thing I did to literally reduce my phone screen time in half and overcome my phone addiction. And no, it's not me telling you to downgrade your smartphone into a Nokia brick or use any of these screen blocker apps or iPhone, Instagram screen blockers, because they just don't work. Because trust me, I've tried pretty much everything to overcome my phone addiction, and it's addiction that almost everybody in today's world have. The difference is not many people even realize that they are addicted to their phones. Now, before I explain what this trick is, you first have to understand exactly where the root cause of phone addiction is coming from. Because if you don't understand this, the trick that I'm going to tell you just makes no sense, sounds obvious, and you're probably not even going to implement it. But once you understand why this is so effective, what I'm going to explain now, it will become extremely useful for you to use. And this is the really interesting thing with phone addictions, because the phone itself is not necessarily a bad thing. It's one of the greatest inventions humans have ever come up with. You can literally speak to anybody on any part of the world. You can message anybody. You can make money from your phone. You can grow whole businesses from literally your phone. It is one of the greatest tools mankind has ever produced, which is the ultimate kind of dichotomy of a phone. It's arguably one of the best things you can ever have, and also one of the worst things that you can ever have. So that's why I always say, people saying, get rid of your phone, have a Nokia brick. It's just not practical. You're going to fall behind in today's society. You need to have this because it can be such a problem solver for so many issues that you face in your life. Today, for example, I need to book some vaccinations for my traveling. I have absolutely no idea where I'm going to get them from. I can literally use my phone, and within 30 seconds, I know in Manchester where I can get my vaccinations done. That is an incredible tool. And if you don't have a smartphone that allows you to do that, you are literally just going to fall behind everybody. It is not realistic to just say to people, get rid of your smartphone. So the real issue with screen time isn't necessarily the amount of time you spend on your phone, because this can be, you can spend 6 hours on your phone and it can be extremely productive. The key issue with overcoming phone addiction comes down to this one simple thing. It is unconscious versus conscious use of your phone. Now, a conscious use of your phone, like I say, is that previous example here. Basically, the best way to describe this is a conscious use is when you go to your phone for a specific thing or a specific problem, you're consciously choosing to use it, to pick it up, going with a specific problem that you want this phone to solve. For that example here, I need to get my vaccinations. I want to know exactly where I can do that. I go to my phone, I use it, and I get all the information I need, and I stop using it once I've got that. That is what we call conscious use of your phone. Unconscious use, on the other hand, is when you use your phone without you even realizing it. And you watching this video might think, Sam, that's extremely obvious. Everybody knows this. Why are you telling it? But actually, when you really think about it and apply it to your life, you will be amazed how much you don't actually know about your conscious versus unconscious use of your phone. Just being aware of this idea of conscious versus unconscious is one of the biggest things that's going to help you overcome your phone addiction. So unconscious use would be, picking up your phone and unlocking it and going straight onto Instagram, looking at all these Instagram reels, Instagram stories, TikToks, because you have to understand these kinds of apps are literally designed to tap in the hardwiring psychology of human brains to keep us addicted. The solution isn't just going cold turkey and deleting these apps, which I see a lot of people say do, because whether you delete them or not, eventually you will always, or most of the time, you will come back to them, because they are so well designed for addiction and to give us dopamine and just to really keep us hooked on them as much as we can. You can get rid of them for a week, maybe even a month, but most of the time you will come back to them eventually. So the answer isn't just getting rid of your smartphone altogether. It's not, deleting all these apps. It's not putting app blockers on. The answer to this is simply having something that takes your phone usage from unconscious use to a conscious use. And that is having some kind of barrier between you and your phone at all times. Let's just take this example. I walk to a co-working space every single day. It's like a 10-minute walk from my apartment to my co-working space. And the vast majority of that walk, say 8 minutes of it, I'm looking at my phone. I'm not even present. I'm just consumed into what's going here. That's because my phone is being used unconsciously. I don't recall opening up my phone because it's always in my pocket. I can simply put it out. I don't even think about the action of putting my hand in my pocket and pulling my phone out and unlocking it. It's all done so smoothly. Why else do you think Apple introduced things like Face ID rather than just having to put your password in? Because these are all things that limit this barrier between conscious versus unconscious use. You don't even need to use your thumbs to type in a passcode. That is friction between you and accessing your phone. Face ID, for example, just reduces all of this friction. Now, of course, it's Apple's best interest and Instagram or TikTok's best interest to have as little friction between not using your phone and using your phone unconsciously as possible. So to overcome your phone addiction, you simply just have to increase the friction between using your phone and not using your phone, because the more friction you have, the more you actually understand whether or not you're using your phone consciously or unconsciously. So now going back to this point of me walking to the co-working space, what I do now is rather than having my phone in my pocket, I have my phone zipped up in my bag, because the big argument people will have is, leave your phone at home and you won't use it then. But there is a chance I will need my phone in an emergency. Now, it's very unlikely, or I might need it to solve a really important problem at that point. I need to have access to my phone. Literally simply just putting a physical barrier between you and your phone, i.e. sticking it in your bag when you're walking, or leaving it in the kitchen when you're at home trying to do work in your office, or whatever it is, just means that you have to take 5 to 10 seconds between thinking, I want to use my phone, and actually using it. And that 5 to 10 seconds is all you need to make yourself realize whether it's a conscious or an unconscious use of your phone. Let's just take putting it in your rucksack as the example here. As you're walking somewhere, you will have these urges and these cravings to look at your phone. And this is kind of a realization when you don't have it in your pockets, just how much you must be using it without you even realizing. Now, a good way of seeing this, if you go to your screen time, you can actually see how many times you picked up your phone. So you can see here on the Sunday, the 9th of November, I picked up my phone 148 times, which was actually below my average. But I have absolutely no memory of using my phone at all or unlocking it at all on that day, let alone 148 times. This just goes to show how much unconscious use you have of your phone. Whereas if you have a physical barrier between you and it, you will have these urges to use it, but because you don't have instant access to it, you will realize that half the time you don't even actually want to use it. You just have this kind of trigger in your head. That barrier seems like such a simple solution, but it is honestly extremely powerful, because that 5 to 10 seconds between having that urge and actually having to unzip your bag, taking your phone out, all of a sudden, that friction means you're now using your phone consciously. So in summary, to really overcome your phone screen addiction, it's not about necessarily how much time you're spending on your phone or having all these app blockers or changing to a brick phone. It all comes down to this subconscious or unconscious versus conscious use. Every single time you're using your phone, you want to make sure you're using it consciously, because as I say, it's an incredible tool. You can be using it, and you can consciously use things like Instagram or TikTok. There are so many interesting or useful things you can find. Maybe on TikTok, you need to find what a restaurant is nearby you or look at the food. That's a conscious use of it. If you want to just go on Instagram in the evening and see what friends have posted in the day, that's a conscious use. The minute it slips from conscious to unconscious is when you have your phone addiction problem. And the best way to overcome that is just produce a 5 to 10 minute barrier or friction between not using your phone and using your phone. Because I guarantee you, if you do that, every single time you have an urge to use your phone, you will realize that's exactly what it is. Just an urge. There's no actual need. Anytime you actually need to use your phone, you can literally have it in 10 seconds, but that 10 seconds is all you need to slip out of this unconscious, doom scrolling kind of way of using your phone. Now, that is just a solution that's worked for me. It's by far the best thing that's ever happened to me in terms of overcoming that phone addiction that, let's be honest, we all have. I'd be really interested to hear if you guys have any other, tips that you use or what you've helped overcome your phone addiction, or if you tried this strategy, just let me know how you find it, because I'd be really interested to see if other people also find this to be as useful as I have. So if you have any things you want to comment about your phone addiction or any questions you have about anything I've mentioned in this video, then let me know down in the comments. I'd be more than happy to hear about all of those.